I will not play it.
Oh, come on, Mario. How often does Mario talk about Mario is missing?
Never.
Exactly. That's why you have to join us. It'll be special.
I'll need more convincing than that.
Alright, I get it. If you join us for this episode, you'll get paid double.
Triple.
Double.
Triple.
Quadruple.
Deal. Well, see you guys later on. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we'll talk later. Quadruple? With what money?
The money that's from the budget.
Then the budget allowed for double. That quadruple is coming out of your next paycheck, not the budget.
Shit. Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. That's more than what the budget allows.
But I was gonna buy a Switch 2 this month.
Yeah, well, that's gotta switch to another month now.
The pun? Really?
Yeah, well, when I start to get angry, I start to get a little punny! Quadruple.
On backlog. Been gone for way too long. On backlog. Got so many games to play, dog. On backlog. Donkey Kong expands my dome. On backlog. Me and Carlo been fucking since dawn. On backlog. Did you know that Carlo wears thongs? On backlog. I really fucking hate this song. Yeah.
What is up, guys? It is Robert at Gaming with me, and welcome to Back of the Backlog, the series where we take a look at the games that I recently beat off my backlog. Today's episode is on the game Mario is Missing. I've said this before on the Super Princess Peach episode that there won't be many Mario games on this series as I've played the majority of them. However, I was talking about the mainline platformer Super Mario games. This is not that. Some may know what this game is right off the bat, and some may not. Mario is Missing is an educational game that is not made by Nintendo and just has nothing to do with their developers. During this era, educational games were pretty popular, and so Nintendo of America partnered with the Software Toolworks and licensed out the Mario characters so they can develop some educational games based around the popular franchise. The interesting thing is Nintendo of Japan, the true headquarters of Nintendo, wanted nothing to do with this and didn't fully realize the deal Nintendo of America made and wanted to make sure that Mario's Missing would not be confused for a traditional Mario title. This just goes to show how different that era was. Nintendo of America can't just license out IPs and tell studios to make Mario games. This game wasn't even released in Japan, and Nintendo never acknowledges this game, understandably so, as they didn't develop it or even publish it. So why did I even want to play this game? Well, for this story. It's a very interesting piece of gaming history, a part of my favorite gaming franchise. Mario is Missing was released in January 1993 in the US. It was developed and published by the Software Toolworks. We are checking out the Super Nintendo version of the game, as there was also a NES version and, crazy enough, a MS-DOS version. Yes, that's what's also crazy about this game. There was a version of the game that was on something other than a Nintendo platform, something that just essentially never happens anymore. I picked the Super Nintendo version as it's just the version I wanted to check out. I did, however, play some of the NES and MS-DOS versions to compare, which we'll get into later. Is this educational Mario game that has nothing to do with Nintendo any good? Well, here we are 32 years after its original release. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the story first. In this Super Nintendo version, the story starts on the title screen where Mario falls out of the intro and into Antarctica, where Yoshi and Luigi have been waiting for him. They are in front of Bowser's castle and are gonna go right in. Luigi says, "Glad you could drop in, come on, let's go." When all of a sudden the floor underneath Mario is actually a trap and Mario is captured. Luigi, with a very hilariously blank and serious emotion as if nothing happened, tells Yoshi, "You wait here, I'm going in to find him," and very slowly walks into the castle. Yoshi then looks at the camera all confused like, what the fuck just happened? And I agree, Yoshi, What the fuck just happened? Mario was in what looked to be Super Mario World and ended up in Antarctica.
This is so embarrassing.
Relax, Mario. It's interesting, not embarrassing.
Imagine if I showed the whole world your naked photos. You'd feel exposed.
That's a little different from being in an educational video game.
I'd rather be naked.
Do it.
No, don't get naked. What the fuck? Just relax. Damn. After that short cutscene, you either start a new game or enter a password to continue your progress. Starting a new game instantly brings you into the castle with Luigi, as yes, you play as Luigi in a starring role for the first time ever. Congrats, Luigi. Now, while there are some context clues in that cutscene, the full story is actually in the manual of the game, and it's way more bizarre than you think. So Bowser builds a bunch of passcode operated remote transport and larceny system, or portals, to send Koopas around the world to trash landmarks and loot ancient artifacts. Then we find out Bowser's true plan. With dough from his slimy sales, Bowser hoards hairdryers from the Have to Have It hotline. His plot? Melt Antarctica and flood the planet. Whoa. Wait a minute. Bowser is going to melt Antarctica with a shit ton of hairdryers? For one, I mean, Bowser wants to murder the entire planet is pretty fucking crazy enough. But he's gonna do it with a bunch of hairdryers? On a second thought, let him try. He'll never melt Antarctica with a bunch of hairdryers. So we're good. Why even take him seriously? Regardless, Luigi now has to save Mario, but also stop all the Koopas causing havoc around the world. So using the portals, you'll set off on a globe-trotting adventure, taking out Koopas and returning the artifacts to the correct landmarks. Right off the bat, visually, this game is okay. When it comes to the Mario side of things, it uses these Super Mario World sprites, which is great, but the real-world environments aren't quite up to par with that same charm. I actually like the look of the locations for the most part, as it's all good, it's just the buildings you pass by are repetitive, being reused a lot in the same level, which isn't surprising, but it definitely stands out. I noticed right away that there was surprisingly really catchy music with some Mario remixes, but mostly solid originals. As for the game, the way it works is throughout these levels you enter, you'll find a bunch of Koopa Troopas you gotta take out, and find the ones that are holding stolen artifacts. There's 3 of them in each level, but there's a lot more Koopa Troopas, so you'll be jumping on Koopas until they... God damn! Did that Koopa Troopa just explode? Yeah, there's a couple funny animations of Koopa Troopas dying after stomping on them, like the over-the-top explosion and also shattering like glass. Who knew Luigi had that type of jumping power? God damn! Around the location you are at are these information booths with what looks to be Princess Peach there. She tells Luigi that the landmark there is closed because something is missing. Once you have the artifact that she needs, you'll be put to the test and have to prove that the artifact is real by answering some questions about the landmark. You are given a paragraph telling you about the history of the landmark, which you can read whenever, and if you answer the questions right, you give back the artifact and are rewarded with a picture of Luigi with the landmark in Super Nintendo pixel quality, which I actually do think is pretty damn cool. Once you give back all the artifacts at a location, you go to the Globulator and have Yoshi pick you up in the right area in the world. With Yoshi, you can then complete the level by scaring a Pokey out of the warp pipe exit, and that's the gameplay loop. I've seen some people say it's a confusing game when they played it as kids and when they played it as adults, but I didn't find it confusing at all, and maybe it's because I read the manual. It's literally find the artifacts, answer questions, and get the fuck out. This is a game that has definitely gotten a bad reputation. I've seen numerous stories of people buying this game as a kid thinking it's a traditional Mario platformer, only to be swindled into playing an educational game. And yeah, that would be understandably frustrating. But as someone who is playing this in 2025 knowing what it is, I gotta say it's not bad. I thought it was okay. I was never bored. I liked for the most part roaming around, jumping on Koopas and getting the artifacts. Jumping isn't as good as in the mainline Mario games, but it felt good enough as there's no platforming and I like seeing what artifacts we'll be collecting in each level. I can totally see why others may find it too repetitive or so, but each level is short enough where it doesn't overstay its welcome. Answering the questions really forces you to read the history of the landmark, which is cool. Of course you can guess and eventually get it right, but that's just multiple choice questions in general.
I never even read the paragraphs and got all the questions right on my first try. I even recorded it this time.
Did you record yourself?
No, why?
Well, then I still can't trust you on this one. You could have looked up all the answers.
You accuse me of looking up the answers?
You got every single question right on the very first try without even reading the paragraph? I don't believe it.
That's bull.
Yeah, I agree. That's bull. As someone who is a big fan of trivia show video games, this game definitely scratched that itch. Although for being an educational game, I don't feel like I learned very much. As someone who is very bad at geography and world history, this game would be perfect to teach me some stuff. Instead, I feel like I learned some small trivia facts about landmarks that I'll probably forget and already have forgotten. Just reading a paragraph on something just doesn't stick in my mind. I need to watch like a documentary or something, which is why I think the game Wild Earth African Safari that we checked out was really good, as it visually showed animals and their habitats interacting in that world with narration. Regardless, I still enjoyed answering the questions and the landmarks, as this is something you'll never see again in a Mario game. Like, this game features a Jesus Christ statue, one answer being the Empire Strikes Back, and a King Kong artifact? That's crazy shit. What a different era this game was in. No wonder Japan was like, hell no. One odd thing about the questions though are, if you get it wrong, you can't just answer the questions right away again. Not Princess Peach will say, sorry, I'm too busy to talk now, come back a little later, which makes no sense as I see you aren't busy. I guess this is their way of encouraging people to reread the paragraph, but doing that just doesn't change her busyness. Instead, you gotta find these people that are walking around and talk to them like 3 or 4 times, and then go back and answer the questions. I honestly don't get why, as these people just seem pointless to me. They'll give you hints on where you are in the world, and some comment about the artifact you were holding, but it never seemed to be an answer to a question, so that is pretty odd. One cool thing that happened while I was out hunting for artifacts was this moment where I awesomely got 2 artifacts at once by accident, bouncing off of one Koopa to another, with both of them holding an artifact by coincidence. This isn't a very cool or action-packed game, so that little moment did stand out to me and I went, oh shit! It's an educational game, come on. The whole Globulator with Yoshi when returning all 3 artifacts is a cool way of combining a Super Mario World map with the globe. Yoshi travels across continents like a madman to pick up Luigi. Considering I'm trash at geography, there were a couple locations where it took me a bit to find out where I was. But hey, that's a part of the educational part, learning where locations are on a map. When running around as Yoshi in a location, we get a good look at Yoshi facing the screen when crossing the street, and it just looks strange. He looks like Green Barney. Which, yes, you do cross the street, and you can only cross in the crosswalk like a good citizen. You look both ways and then go. No jaywalking in this game. After completing a floor of cities, you'll verse a boss. Now there aren't many, but you'll verse one of the Koopalings before going to another floor of cities. These bosses are, well, they're essentially nothing. They run back and forth, they don't attack you. Instead, they just try to avoid your attacks. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not surprised, and I'm also okay with it. It's a little sprinkle of variety to add a little action element to the game. You are never going to die and restart boss battles in an educational game, so take it like a game of tag. Fine. Once you pass several floors of cities, you then go face to face with Bowser, which I'm now going to talk about just to let you know. Luigi gets to the top and pushes a lever to save Mario. Bowser pops up with creepy eyes and jumps out. Luigi pushes the lever to reveal an opening to a cannon that Bowser drops in. Bowser looks at Mario and Luigi like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And accepts his destiny. He is shot out of the castle into the middle of Antarctica and freezes up and breaks up into little pieces, straight up dying? And the credits roll with Happy Mario music over Bowser's sliced up corpse. What the fuck? Bowser just died? Like, dead? We've seen him get shot out, thrown far away, fallen into lava, but we've never seen his actual body disintegrate and just fucking die. Like, there's no movement. Look, he's dead! Luigi, that's just cold-blooded murder! You know, I do believe there should have been a boss battle with Bowser, even if it is just running back and forth, cause you set a precedent. If I fight the Koopalings, why not Bowser? It would have made for a more fulfilling ending, but this actual cutscene ending is officially legendary to me, and I will always remember that the educational Mario game has Luigi murder Bowser. Wow. I didn't see that coming. I'll admit, that was nuts. Brutal shit right there. That was Mario is Missing. That was an okay game. For what it's trying to be, it does a decent job. Throwing in the Super Mario franchise to have people learn is not really the best concept, but this feels like the most you could do with it while still feeling somewhat like a Mario game. I enjoyed answering the questions, I liked the music, I like experiencing this weird era of Mario, but it is repetitive in both the gameplay loop and world designs. I wish we actually versed Bowser, but at the same time, that ending was unique. I also did end up playing both the NES and MS-DOS versions of the game via emulator. Just the first level of the game, I wasn't going to play the whole thing again 2 more times. I'm not that insane. Even with just playing one level, I feel I can safely say that the Super Nintendo version is the best version. The NES one looks a bit more Mario-esque, I gotta say, especially in the castle, but from what I've seen, it only has 3 Koopas around in a level, making the guesswork taken out as to where the artifacts are. I checked the second level, and that was the same case. Maybe it changes later on, I can't say for sure. Also, only 1 correct answer gives the artifact instead of 2, and you can just instantly ask for a question, which is better in that way, but worse that only 1 answer continues the progress, I'd say. Also, it is cool to see Yoshi in a platformer-esque game on the NES. The MS-DOS version is iconic in the fact that it introduced us to the Luigi sprite that people call Ouija. Other than that, I think this version is just worse. It's a point-and-click adventure instead of a side-scroller that removes everything that has to do with Mario. There's no warp pipes around, instead you take taxis to fast travel. There's a lot more menus that just slow down the experience. You don't jump on Koopas, and Koopas look weird as hell in this game. Instead of Princess Peach, you got random people at the information booths. The map within the levels are much more confusing with no clear indication of the pipe exits or Koopa's locations, no Yoshi on a Super Mario World-like map. Nah, this definitely seems like the worst version and you just feel it instantly. It has more levels than the other versions, but I don't give a fuck. The only thing that says this game is Mario and Luigi. So yeah, to me, Super Nintendo version for sure. Overall, I'm gonna give Mario is Missing a I still can't believe Bowser is dead out of 10. That was an okay game. I thought it would be horrible, but nah, it's alright. I wasn't bored. I was kinda entertained, which is something I wasn't expecting in an educational Mario game. Will that be the same for Mario's Time Machine? Another educational Mario game? Only time will tell.
Oh no! Not that game!
You gotta join us for that one.
Bitch, no!
You gotta. Look at Finn. He's always naked, so you can't bring up that embarrassing thing to him.
I'm not naked. I got my voice translator collar.
You can't count that as clothes. That's like counting DK's ties as clothes. Like, technically it is, but the man has his old cock out. Anyway, that's a whole other discussion. Thank you so much for watching. Have you played Mario's Missing? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Mario's Missing was the weirdest and most violent Mario game I've ever played yet, but it is officially out of the backlog.
I gotta ask again. Are you serious that I have to pay for the Mario appearance?
Yeah, if someone offers something out of the budget, it comes out of your pockets. The person who proposed the idea.
Ah, shit. Well, I was thinking, instead of taking my pay, I can contribute by getting us our next game.
Bro, unless you're bringing in Panzer Dragoon Saga, it ain't gonna add up to shit. Besides, it's not me you want to ask. You gotta ask Niffler. He's the guy that actually, deals with the budgets.
Niffler? Ah, shit.
Well, I guess it depends on the game. What'd you even say quadruple anyway?
'Cause I wanted to secure the appearance.
Yeah, but he works with us. We would have been able to convince him for double, and if not, then whatever.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Let me just see the game and we'll go from there. No. Bro, that shit is like 10 quid.
Ah, shit.